good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're tuning in. Maybe I should just call this my daily show. I did miss yesterday. I think it's important to take some personal time sometimes, and that is what I did. I hope you're doing well this morning. I want to start with a tarot card of the day. See what's being shared with the universe, from the universe. Knight of Rods. This is matching so closely what's already come in this morning, which is inspiration is charging in right now. Creative ideas. Even the astrology is showing. And in this September, beginning of September, if you're watching this around the time I recorded it, there's huge amounts of inspiration and creative energy that's just charging. The night is charging in. So I'm also feeling similarly. For those of you who don't know, I am starting podcasting again. So you can find my podcast, Relationship Alchemy, on Spotify, on Apple. Gosh, there's some other places that it's told me. I'm using the Anchor app, and it keeps telling me, oh, it's gone on to another, my show's gone on to another app or another place to listen. I can't remember all of them. So if you are interested in hearing that, you can find me. Just search Relationship Alchemy Podcast by Stasia Bliss. And last week's episode is up, and I will be recording probably again today. Got my yerba mate in my handmade ceramic mug. And my morning snack, the Alter Ego Quinoa Crunch. I'm going to have this the other day, but I adore this particular chocolate bar. I'm almost out. I am going to take a little bite. Just allowing that chocolate to activate the Ananda mind. Today I am going to share some from Kishori Aird's DNA Demystified. I love this book. I use this book in my sessions for years. So powerful. This woman and the two other people she worked with, she doesn't tell me who, but they spent 10 years coming up with the protocol in this book, which is exquisite and very detailed. How to reactivate dormant parts of DNA, how to clear old programs, how to tune into your allies in your DNA. I first had this book for a long time and just kind of stared at it before I swallowed what to do. And because of that, I lead my clients through this because I do recommend the book, but it can feel a little bit complicated. You have to be proficient at muscle testing to figure out what things you need to add to the programs. There's all these charts and lists in the back. So I just wanted to share a little bit about this book with you today because this is some really powerful material. And I know personally, having done a lot of the DNA upgrades for myself and for some of my clients, the acceleration that happens in one's life when this stuff is put into effect. The creative inspiration, if you will, amplifies and amps up more than before, because a lot of times we're unplugged. We don't know we're unplugged. We're trying to plug back in. We might try different techniques, but it's as simple as asking the body, does the body need to plug back in? Does it need reharmonization in certain helixes? Does it need certain ones upgraded? Are there things we're carrying, old codes in our DNA that are inhibiting us from living our highest truth? So I just want to read a little bit about this because it's so powerful. And then if you feel inspired to get her book, you can do that. And if you feel like you want to have a session with me, well, I help you with this, I would love that. And you would love that. So she starts in chapter 2 saying, we are the programmers of our DNA. And this is true, the DNA that they've called junk DNA in the past, this 95% of your DNA, is actually, they found it to be voice-activated DNA. In other words, what you're speaking to yourself is programming your DNA all the time. Programming, reprogramming. So if you're speaking negative thoughts, negative ideas, or limited beliefs to your DNA, then you are programming your DNA in a way that's defeating. I've got my little buddy that just woke up. You can lay right here. I'm just sharing some stuff with these people. Oh my guy. You can lay right here. So she starts out, we are the programmers of our DNA. Since DNA was discovered in the 1950s, scientists have convinced us that human beings were entirely determined by their genetic code and that there was nothing we could do about it. Their stand was, we are programmed and genetic changes only ever evolve over long periods of time through slow processes. To this day, according to conventional science, the only way to alter our genetic code is to proceed mechanically, or in certain cases, biochemically. In other words, to take out a gene here, put one back there, destroy a few others with chemical products or viruses, etc. Psychiatrists were the first to challenge the belief that it is impossible to influence our genetics through mind or spirit. Through observing individuals with multiple personalities, they saw that each personality had its own name, vision of the world, and way of relating to others, including sexually. However, let us remember that these different personalities all existed and alternated within the same body, causing physiological changes to occur within only minutes. Of course, it's true that genetic programs do exist, determining our physical appearance, our biology, our innate abilities, and even a considerable part of our psychology, including limitation over which we have no choice. What we are less certain of is that there is nothing we can do about it. We have a role to play. The scientific community does not have sole authority over the human genome. By now, you have no doubt understood that if we imagine our junk or random DNA, she says it's 97% of our genes and 41 out of 64 possible codons to be restricted, futile and useless components of our DNA, then this is the idea that will resonate with us, shaping our reality. Conversely, if we are able to conceive of a greater reality, opening our minds to a larger temporal concept by remembering that junk or random DNA harnesses incredible power, our DNA's response will be boundless. It simply suffices to think of all that is possible with only 3% of our DNA in order to understand all the power that may exist in the remaining 97%. Another challenge to the ivory tower of mechanistic science was imposed by quantum physics. According to the proponents of new physics, matter is not as solid as it appears. It is alterable. It interacts with reality as well as with time. More specifically, when referring to the infinitesimal quantum physics have taught us, most specifically when referring to the infinitesimal, I can't even say the word, you know what I'm saying? Quantum physics have taught us that matter no longer has the same concrete reality when we're going into this very small. It takes its influenced and even determined by the observer while obeying the laws of physics. Scientists have even observed that DNA waves can be modified depending on the state of the observer's mind. For example, the spiral can shrivel up if we're in a state of weakness or depression, or become longer if we're in a state of creativity or happiness. This means that even the scientific world recognizes how our thoughts influence the physical conformation of DNA. Nothing about this is imaginary. We have seen that DNA can be compared with small electric motors, sensitive to magnetism. Clearly, this signifies that junk or random DNA can respond to our commands, choices, and wishes, as well as to the quality of our energy. Consequently, all of our reprogramming work will be done on the vibratory level, targeting our junk or random DNA. So that's what we're going to do. I'm just going to share with you a little bit of the reprogramming, and you can just feel how powerful it is to say some of these things, okay? So without checking in with you, since we're not one-on-one, I just want to let you know how this coding goes. So like the first protocol in the book is making sure that all 12 helixes, and she does speak about 13 helixes that correlate with 13 chakras, only 2 of which most people are really sure exist. Though years ago when I did an article for the Guardian Liberty Voice, I spoke about an article where scientists had confirmed 3 or 4 DNA strands. What's up?
Guardian Liberty?
Liberty Voice, yes. My boy has a friend named Liberty. Okay, so...
Not my friend.
Okay, so you're live, so let's be nice. Okay, so there's a preparation stage where you say, I choose to be at 0 point, even if I don't know how. So she explains by giving your subconscious mind this out, even if I don't know how. It's giving you both sides, the positive and the negative, so that you can actually receive the upgrade. Sometimes our conscious mind, if you say, I choose to be at 0 point, will be going, no, you're not, or what if you're not? And so we say, even if I don't know how. And then with muscle testing, you would go through and test what helixes are connected and which ones are not, if it's appropriate to reconnect them now, if it's necessary that they have any color installed. And then you say, I command the chakra corresponding to helix, whatever, to be installed. So you're commanding that those link up. And then you're testing if the helixes connect to the chakras in the etheric bodies. And then there's a definition for each one of the helixes. So you go back through and you test the wording for the helixes to see how the body responds to them. For example, helix number 1 is about physical and survival. Helix number 2, and these correlate with your chakras, right? Physical, creativity, power, and sexuality, all the way up to helix 13, which she says anchors the reconnection in the physical body, allows energy to circulate freely between 13 helixes in the body, etc. So I won't read all of that now. It's something we could do in a private session. And then she asks you to ask the body if there's any harmful programs that would interfere. Are there any memories attached to the old way of being that might interfere with this upgrade? If the helixes are at 0 point, if it's necessary to install anything else before we reprogram, and then the reprogramming begins. Okay, and it begins like this: it's commands. So you say, I command the new helixes be installed in the nucleus of the master cell of the pineal gland in all lives in all dimensions. I command that from the pineal gland this program reach the endocrine glands, brain, nervous system, peptides, the cells, the intra and extracellular fluids, the interstitial void, atoms and quantum elements, all helixes, chakras, etheric bodies, and the soul. I command the RNA to support and reconnect itself to this new program. So all of these are I command. I will just skip down a little bit. I command any residues from old programs to be eliminated through the appropriate systems, all the way down to I command the power, the harmony, and purity of these new helixes be installed in the DNA and be perfectly activated. So can you please not bump into the camera because it will make loud noises. Okay, thank you, honey. So all of these commands are very empowering to say. You can even try them now while you're listening. I command helix 1, return to the order of the perfect original program. And so with this, we're generally not taught to speak in terms of commands to ourselves. Even in affirmations, we might say it in the affirmative. I've got Louise Hay's book, back here, which I used for a long time in my life, you know, where you are having a problem and you might say, life is for me. I move forward with confidence and joy. I'm knowing that all is well in my future. You know, this is a great book I used way back at the beginning of my awakening process. But how empowering to command your body to come into alignment, to command your body to repair certain issues, to command that you install a new paradigm to be in the state of love at 0 point, which is protocol number 10 in here. So it's really powerful information. If it's something that you are interested in, reach out to me. I'd love to do a personal session. There's so many things that could be going on in the body that would block or that would want to be corrected in such a program. So in the back is index where there's different emotions that she's got like hundreds of emotions listed. You know, the dominator, embarrassed, diabolical, difficulty, feeling disappointed, depression, you know, like lists and lists and lists of emotions that might be blocking, or psychic energy blocks. Could be something with your kundalini, could be prana, could be, you know, something with your Merkaba, could be a psychic wound, could be something, you know, with the planets affecting you. You could be in multiple dimensions at the same time. Or it could be like a mental thing where you have some belief structure that's running, that's you're afraid or you're wounded or you're feeling trapped, and she gives an affirmation that gets inserted into that command. And then of course there's all these things like different elements that could be blocking, could be infections, could be hormonal imbalances, structural problems, and she got all of these listed in the back. So this is part of the same sort of things I use when I do Akashic readings and field work in your body. But I love this book as a tool. So again, that's Kishori Aird, A Practical Guide to Reprogramming the 13 Helixes at 0 point, DNA Demystified. This is volume 1. A fabulous book. Highly recommend it. Super, super awesome. And then the stone of the day is lepidolite. And this is an awesome purpley stone that's layered. Oops, I just threw it. And it has actually natural lithium in lepidolite, which helps with depression. Actually, someone who has depression is low in lithium. And this is a safe way. You can lay with this on your forehead or sit with it. This is a safe way to get natural lithium frequencies, vibrations. And will also inspire you today with this Knight of Rods energy. Another program that's in this book is to upgrade the information decoders. And your information decoders are the parts of your DNA that are receiving information from the universe all the time. And like most of us have them set really, really low. So we're only receiving 5-7% of the information that's coming in. And we've kind of set it that way so that we aren't overwhelmed by the cosmos and by all this that could be coming in. But as we upgrade the DNA, we can also upgrade our information decoders and therefore receive the cosmic inspiration that's coming in. And the lepidolite is also helpful with inspiration. With its purple color, it is aligned with the pineal gland and does help to activate that remembrance in you. So I think this is an important time in our lives, in the world, where we are able to access the most power within us, the most of our empowerment, the most of our gifts that we can, as we change our internal landscape and we stop being at war with ourselves, with our own selves, with what we think we can do and cannot do, because sometimes our limiting beliefs, they're imposed upon us from outside. So when we can clear that up, then we actually serve humanity better. So Today's show will maybe make it a little bit shorter since I got family already awake. I didn't get up too early today to do this show. Had a couple conversations already before this today, so just want to send some giant love out to you in your day to be open to that inspiration. And if there is some upgrading that you feel like you want to do, please reach out. You can comment below, or you can reach me at my name, stasiabliss@gmail.com, or through my website, blissinthehouse.com. Okay, love you so much. Thank you for joining me today. Don't forget to nourish your senses and take time for yourself each day to tune in and receive the divine words that are here for you. Okay, much love. Until next time. Bye.